Hello and welcome to Business 360. I'm Shireen Bhan. The headlines that we're tracking for you this evening. Indian equities end with March losses after a range-bound session. The Nifty ends at a two-month low as it fails to reclaim 24,400. The Sensex falls for the fourth day in a row, but the Nifty Bank ends 0.5% higher. Market veterans call the ongoing slump in the market a healthy correction. Ramdeo Agrawal says the earnings slowdown is a temporary blip. He expects the markets to double in the next 5 years. Navneet Munot of HDFC AMC says he still sees some froth in small and mid-cap stocks. In a fireside chat with Reliance Chairman Mukesh Ambani, NVIDIA CEO Jensen Huang says NVIDIA and Reliance will jointly build artificial intelligence infrastructure in India. Ambani says India and Indians will surprise the world with what we can do with intelligence, just like we did with data. Sebi chairperson Madhavi Puri Buch skips the Parliament's Public Accounts Committee meeting, writes to the PSC chairman and Congress MP KC Venugopal at 9:30 this morning, expressing her inability to attend due to personal exigencies. The Sebi chief is likely to be given a new date to appear before the committee. FMCG companies say a shrinking middle class and an urban slowdown are among a host of factors that have hurt sales in the second quarter. Tells CNBC-TV18 food inflation is a reality of the middle class, and they expect urban spending to return as the government spending accelerates. Airlines in India to continue to live through the nightmare of hoax bomb threats. Air India, Indigo, Akasa and Vistara say they've together received over 85 hoax threats today. This takes the total tally to over 250 in 11 days. Sources in the government say social media platforms are not doing enough to curb the menace. Deutsche Bank believes the Indian economy is poised to hit $7 trillion by 2030, says it will deploy more capital in India to capitalize on the opportunity. Believe FDI flows into India likely to double in the next 5 years. That's CNBC-TV18 exclusive. Israel continues its ground operations and aerial strikes on Gaza and Lebanon. 16 Palestinians, including children, were killed after Israeli missiles hit a school located inside a refugee camp in Gaza. Israel claims to have struck 160 Hezbollah targets in Lebanon in the last 24 hours. The U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken meets with Qatar's Emir and other officials in a push for a ceasefire in Gaza. Orissa and West Bengal brace for Cyclone Dana as landfall is expected around midnight or early Friday morning. Over 200 trains have been suspended while schools and colleges remain shut. The Orissa government starts evacuating over 10 lakh people living in the danger zone, while West Bengal readies to relocate over 1 lakh people. All of that and more is coming up for you, but let's start with the market action of the day, where we saw the Sensex and the Nifty ending with marginal losses after a range-bound session. The Nifty closing at a two-month low, and the Sensex clocked, 80,065, down by about 16 points. So a flat close there. The Nifty mid-cap was down by about 200 points. Nifty Bank was the outlier, up by about 300 points. Today, financials clearly keeping the markets higher as far as the Nifty Bank was concerned. Let's now talk about market veterans and their outlook for the markets. Now, not particularly worried about the recent slump that we've seen in equities. They call it a much-needed healthy correction. Speaking to CNBC-TV18, Ramdeo Agrawal says the earnings slowdown is a temporary blip. He expects the markets to double in the next 5 years. Navneet Munot of HDFC AMC says he still sees some froth in small and mid-cap stocks, adding that while there is some earnings slowdown being seen, balance sheets are very healthy. Take a look.
It is the healthiest possible correction and overdue correction, I would say. And even if a bit more, I feel it will be deeper the correction, better it is for the people, because the expectations were going wild. You know, some people are saying that I want only 2-3% monthly return, month on month, that too compounded. So, you know, that expectation was running wild. And once the expectations are way beyond, see, ultimately, even last 5-year return is just about 16% of the Nifty.
Next 25 years look even better. Notwithstanding this correction, and we can discuss more about it, I don't think that the last few days give you any reason to worry about the next 25 years. This was expected. This is a healthy correction. There's a pace at which the money is coming. And the best part is a large part of that money is coming in the form of SIPs. And the 24,500 crores is ticket size is 23 or 400 rupees per month per ticket. And that makes us very positive about the structural aspect of financialization of savings in India.
Capital goods defense, railway, consumer durable. These are the sectors where you will generally find stocks are a little bit aggressively valued. And then there is one market where you don't go because you don't understand the micro caps, the mini caps, the SME index. I believe in that market, some stocks have fallen, almost 40, 50 stocks have fallen quite sharply. But despite that correction, I still think it's risky to venture over there. So focus on quality over momentum, high floating stock over low floating stock.
The typical investor is today not interested in debt or fixed income. The typical investor today is interested in equity. While we believe it is quite possible that FD can outperform a small and mid cap, most investors today are really happy with equity as an asset class.
Indeed.
And that is the reality at this point of time. The challenge is, if you add a fundamental problem and valuations being high, it would be very easy for you to say that this would happen.
Right.
Today, you don't have a fundamental problem. You have a valuation and sentiment problem.
And we'll bring you more on the market veterans and their view on the new Samvat. That's right here on CNBC-TV18. But let's continue to talk about the big global story that we are tracking. Tensions in West Asia continue to escalate. Reports say at least 16 people have been killed after Israel attacked a school and a refugee camp in Gaza. Israeli airstrikes have killed 42 people in northern Gaza. This attack forced the World Health Organization to pause its latest phase of polio vaccination in the region. At least one person has died and 5 have been wounded after Israel carried out at least 17 strikes on Beirut's southern suburbs overnight. The Lebanese military has said that an officer was among the 3 soldiers that were killed in another Israeli raid in southern Lebanon. The big newsmakers this evening, Reliance Chairman Mukesh Ambani joined NVIDIA CEO Jensen Huang for a fireside chat at the tech giant's AI summit in Mumbai. It doesn't get any bigger than this. In a 30-minute-long conversation peppered with occasional banter, the two industrialists talked about India's potential as a global hub for artificial intelligence. Huang said AI was an extraordinary opportunity for India, adding that NVIDIA and Reliance will jointly build artificial intelligence infrastructure in India. Ambani said India and Indians will surprise the world with AI, just like we did with data.
No one has contributed more, Mukesh, to help India become a high-tech and a deep-tech India. Now, you're at the beginning of that journey. You have great aspirations. I know you have deep aspirations to help India become a deep tech industry. The last thing you need is AI infrastructure. And we're announcing that Reliance and NVIDIA are partnering to build AI infrastructure here in India.
India will be one of the biggest intelligence markets, and it's not only our aspirations, but I think it is just the raw gene pool and the raw gene power that exists in India, the youth power that exists in India, that is actually going to... We are in what is the Geo World Center, which is new, which is built by my wife. So if I don't say it's built by my wife, I was instructed to say that.
I'm at her house? Her house is bigger than your house. And I thought your house was pretty big. Just so you know, from Mukesh's house, I could see my house in California.
So, and while I was listening to you, you talked about NVIDIA being an exotic place. And I was thinking that when you are in India, I've got to give you my version of what NVIDIA means to me. And I was just thinking about it backstage. There's a very important word linked, which is called Vidya, Vidya, right? And in Indian, in Hindi, as we are all determined to make the best LLM in Hindi, right? In Hindi, Vidya means knowledge.
I knew I named the company right. I knew it.
So
everybody said, NVIDIA, what a horrible name. You will never make it.
So what it means...
I knew it. I stuck with it.
So you can take credit for this interpretation.
Gosh.
No problem. Right?
And you can catch more of that conversation between two legends there, Mukesh Ambani and NVIDIA's Jensen Huang, at these times right here on CNBC-TV18. As I said, it doesn't get any bigger than this. Sebi Chief Madhavi Puri-Butch skipped the Parliament's Public Accounts Committee meeting, citing personal reasons. This panel was set to question the Sebi Chief and review the performance of the market regulator. Sources told us that allegations levelled against her by the Hindenburg report were not part of the official agenda. Parikshit joins us now with more. Parikshit, Madhavi Puri-Butch says she could not appear today before the PAC due to personal exigencies. Take us through what the committee now intends to do.
A crucial meeting of the Public Accounts Committee of Parliament has been adjourned because the Sebi chief Madhavi Puri-Butch could not appear before the committee. She was scheduled to appear before the PAC at 11 a.m. this morning with regard to the theme performance review of regulatory bodies. She was supposed to give oral evidence. The opposition members had said that they may even ask her questions about the Hindenburg report. The BJP had objected to that, stating that this is not a subject before the PAC. Having said that, the PAC chairperson KC Venugopal received a letter from the Sebi chief at 9:30 a.m. this morning, stating that she cannot travel from Mumbai to Delhi for this meeting due to personal exigencies and she may be excused. Considering the fact that she is a woman and she has expressed her inability to come due to personal reasons, the PAC chairperson accepted the letter. But we are told by sources that she is now going to be called at a fresh date and she will be asked to give oral evidence in the coming months. The PAC chairperson KC Venugopal told media persons later that even at an earlier date, she had requested for being excused from this meeting and from appearing in person, something that the committee had denied. But this morning, they received a letter from her at 9:30 a.m. this morning, which has been accepted. Now the meeting has been adjourned. It will be called again and the Sebi chief will be called as well. There was a bit of drama as well because the moment the PAC chairperson and opposition members walked out of the meeting room, the BJP and NDA leaders had their own discussion. Now, this is according to the version of opposition leaders. The opposition has accused the NDA of devising a plan to save Madhavi Puri-Butch. Speaking to media later on, Ravi Shankar Prasad of the BJP said that the PAC chairperson has broken all rules regarding the functioning of parliamentary committees by leaking information to the media and giving media bites after the committee meeting. They said they were not taken into confidence before the subjects before this committee were decided. They were not really taken into the confidence before the review of Sebi was going to be conducted as well. And they have said that they could take up this matter with the Lok Sabha Speaker as well.
Parikshit, many thanks for joining us. Now, top brass of FMCG companies have blamed the shrinking middle class and urban slowdown among a host of other factors impacting sales in the second quarter. They told CNBC-TV18 that food inflation is a reality for the middle class, adding that they expect urban spending to return as government spends rise. Mangalam joins us now with the commentary that's come in from the FMCG sector on the demand picture. Mangalam, take us to the demand centimetre.
Well, absolutely. You know, urban demand coming under pressure is one of those concerns that across the board, a lot of these FMCG leaders have called out. And that's important largely because 2/3 of revenue for the FMCG sector comes in from urban India and 1/3 of volumes comes in from there as well. We've just about seen gradual pickup in rural, and in light of that, urban not doing well may not bode well for the growth of all these FMCG companies. Case in point, Nestle's Suresh Narayanan did say that, you know, shrinking middle class has impacted FMCG sales. We saw a challenging demand environment in the quarter that went by as well, largely on account of muted consumer sentiment. Tata consumer Sunil D'Souza called out that as well, saying that FMCG companies' sales have indicated urban slowdown, and urban has had some impact on flooding and food inflation coming in because of the excess rains that happened during the quarter too. They expect government spending to ramp up and then aid urban demand too. HUL has spoken about moderating urban growth even as there is gradual recovery in rural, and urban slowdown, though they've called out as a temporary phenomenon. Pidilite has said that demand has been impacted in the beginning of this quarter because of excessive rains, first half was impacted by one-offs like elections and some flooding as well. It'll take them some time, at least a quarter, to find out whether there is weakness in consumer sentiment or it was largely because of external challenges itself. United Spirits, their prestige and above volumes also fell by 4%. They cited muted or softer than expected demand environment in consumer sentiment this time around, as a result of which they have seen that decline in their volumes. And Asian Paints too, in a conversation with us, the management had said that the second quarter has been impacted by both monsoons as well as flooding in parts of the country. The question that remains to be answered, is this just a one-off or is this something structural where we are seeing for the next few quarters?
The rural markets have been on the recovery path for some time and continue to recover gradually. And please note that it's about a third of our business comes from rural areas and 2/3 comes from urban areas. In the recent near term, we have seen a certain slowdown in the urban markets. They are continuing to grow, but the growth rate is trending down. And on the whole, therefore, the markets are slightly down compared to where they were, say, a few quarters back. Now, it's a near-term phenomenon, and it could be driven by various macro factors that could be short-term and long-term in nature.
I do think once the entire Kharif this thing happens, you will see a far more buoyant rural economy. That said, on the urban pace, I wouldn't say that much, but there has been an impact of all the flooding, etc., in various parts of the country. B, food inflation. I think we have not, I would say, seen the full impact. For the middle income person, I mean, food inflation is a reality, and I think that has hit a bit. So, across various categories, if you see, four-wheelers are slowing down. Other competitive FMCG companies are talking about stress in urban. So you look at various indicators, all of them are indicating a little bit of stress.
So I think this question will really be best answered in January to see, listen, is our demand conditions really subdued as a result of external factors, or is there an issue with consumers? I mean, we know that rural markets have been subdued. I mean, it's simple mathematics. Over 3 years, if you look at rural incomes versus rural inflation, there is less money in the hands of the rural consumer. I mean, that's an obvious fact, and only companies that have therefore substantially invested and have a penetration opportunity like ours have done well in rural India.
Well, that's the demand centimeter. We will head into a break, but when we return, airlines in India continue to live through the nightmare of hoax bomb threats. Air India, Indigo, Akasa and Vistara say that they've together received 85 hoax threats just today. Details when we get back. Hoax bomb threats have continued to disrupt Indian aviation. Airlines have received over 85 hoax threats just today, taking the total tally to over 250 since the start of this month. Danish joins us now with more. Danish, what is the government's plan of action?
Well, bomb hoax incidents continue to spook Indian airlines, and even today, Akasa Air, Air India, Indigo and Vistara have received over 80 bomb threats. And if you look at the particular breakup, as per sources, Akasa has received 13 bomb threats, and even Indigo has received over 15 bomb threats. Looking at what the government is planning to do, as per sources, the government is considering to amend the Suppression of Unlawful Acts Against Safety of Civil Aviation Act 1982, and the government is also considering to amend the aircraft security rules. So once these rules are amended, then we can expect the Ministry of Civil Aviation to have certain more powers to create an elaborate no-fly list, and then the government is also considering to have a penal, a particular financial penalty on those people that are caught in these incidents. But sources have also told CNBC-TV18 that the government has also traced certain numbers and has asked the social media platforms to block these particular accounts. But if we see, since the beginning of October, airlines till now have received over 250 bomb threats, and this is creating a small financial impact for the airlines. As per reports, Indian Airlines have lost over 600 crore rupees because of such a bomb threat. Because once such a bomb threat usually comes in front of the airline, then we see that a particular protocol is followed in which an aircraft is diverted and it is supposed to land at a particular airport, and hence this leads to enhanced cost for these airlines. But overall, if we see, the government is expected to take a big action on these bomb hoax incidents very soon.
Danish, many thanks for joining us. Cyclone Dana is expected to make landfall on the coast of Odisha early tomorrow. Various parts of the state have been experiencing heavy rainfall, strong winds and rough sea conditions. Odisha and West Bengal governments have evacuated lakhs of people from coastal areas. At least 7 districts in the state have been put on red alert and 19 NDRF teams have been placed on standby. Well, with that, it is time for us to wrap up this edition of Business 360. The news will continue right here on CNBC-TV18. Stay tuned. We're back in a moment with more.